today on a Monday. It is time to come into Uncle Steve's Lounge for the Monday Minutia. We are here to talk to you all about Atlanta Falcons and etc., etc., etc. I hope everyone is doing well. Great day here in the ATL. Great weather. Just a beautiful day, and hoping you all had a great start to your week. I am Steve Johnson, Uncle Steve in Uncle Steve's Lounge. Thank you for joining us. We're here on YouTube every Monday for the Monday Minutia and also on Friday for Friday Brunch. Please join me if you get a chance to. If you like what you see, push the like button. If you don't like what you see, give me a comment. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me what you don't like. And we'll try to improve it and give you guys some good content. Until then, we wanted to talk today about some other, because listen, let's keep it real. There's a lot of nothing after these OTAs, after these first round of OTAs going on. We're getting ready to have a little bit of a dead period right before they're going to have a little bit of a camp in a week or so, and then everything kind of turns off until training camp. So got to find a lot of stuff to kind of, fit in between and kind of see what we can do to, just keep some entertainment going. So if y'all noticed the last couple of times, I've been not only mixing my Falcons acumen up, but I've also been keeping a little bit of entertainment. I hope you all like it. Just trying to do something again to fill time in between this season starting off. So I hope you do enjoy. If you do, like I said, like the video, please subscribe if you haven't already. And I just appreciate everyone checking us out on a weekly basis. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, let's get to it. Today's topic that we were going to talk about with the Atlanta Falcons are two of them. It's two topics. First topic is, of course, about the Atlanta Falcons. What non-Super Bowl season was your favorite in Atlanta Falcons history, and the history that goes back to 1966? I know a lot of folks say players and eras where they began to be a Falcon fan. I know I personally started to be a Falcon fan right around the Grits Blitz time, though I had known about the 75 team. That was really my first splash into it when Steve Bartkowski was drafted out of California, and I was trying to figure out what was all the hullabaloo about. And again, it wasn't cable then, so you had like one channel, and they were up all night talking about this guy from California, and he was going to change the landscape of the Atlanta Falcons. So that's when I kind of got into that particular era in the mid 70s into the late 70s. During that first playoff push we had. So that was fine. I know a lot of people talk about the Deion Sanders era when primetime was here in like the late 80s, early 90s, and all of that. Of course, during that pre-Super Bowl, but we're not including the Super Bowl seasons. Right after the Super Bowl, when the Dirty Bird kind of stuck around and hung. And of course, you can't ignore the Mike Vick era, probably most exciting era during our tenure here as an NFL team. And then, of course, the most successful era of the Atlanta franchise was Matt Ryan, when Matt Ryan was at the helm of the Atlanta Falcons. So I'm just going back just to tell me, what was your favorite Atlanta Falcon season? Your most enjoyable, and it doesn't have to be necessarily a winning season. Maybe it was a season that was memorable for the wrong reasons. Maybe it was just that's when you ended up being a fan. If you were a casual fan, but then something happened one year that said, "Oh, okay, now my eyes are open. Let's see what's going on." So that. Then my second question, of course, we're going to throw some entertainment in here, as we always do. I've been loving the responses everyone has been getting. Last week, I think, not last week, I think it was Saturday, we ended up doing the topic of Blue Eyed Soul, and I just loved a lot of the responses we got here. I have to give credit to today's topic to my buddy Calvin, who is a DJ. And Calvin, and I made sure I kept it because I said myself, I said, that's a good question. Now, Calvin Miller, who DJs a lot, and he says, Steve, a good music topic idea. What was the first vinyl, cassette, or CD you purchased with your own money? That was good. Thank you, Calvin, for that particular topic. But that's going to be the other topic today. So we're going to talk about your favorite Falcon season. And we're also going to talk about favorite Falcon season, not including the Super Bowl. It's easy to say the Super Bowl was the, I think everybody would agree that those were very entertaining years. But what was your favorite non-Super Bowl year here as an Atlanta Falcon fan? And second of all, and I'm sure it's going to age some of you as it's aged me, what was your favorite? What was your first CD, cassette, or vinyl? And I know you can still buy vinyl now, so I'm not that crazy. I know you can. But what was your first purchase by yourself? Because nowadays kids don't have to go to the record store. Everything is streamed. They just go to YouTube when the song comes out at midnight. And but there was something just cool about being able to, at least as far as I was concerned, you knew the record came out the next morning, being able to go to, back then when I was here, those seasoned folks who've been around when I was, you had your Turtles records and your Peaches records and stores, I should say. And you were able to go down there and purchase the latest Stevie Wonder or the latest Earth, Wind and Fire the day it came out. And it was just a big deal back then. It's excitement. I don't know. I'm sure it's still excitement for certain albums and songs to come out. But what was the first one you purchased with your own money? That's the question for today. Let's get into the chat because that's what we do best. We want to hear what you all have to say on here. Appreciate everyone joining us today. First on deck, Miss Christy Lewis. How are you, ma'am? Good to see you in the chat. She said, I want the information for the person who designed those shoes. And you're talking about the thumbnail that I put on the shoes. The shoes, which are right over here by chance. And my brother Gregory Brown, here we go. He did an awesome job customizing the shoes. I know Gregory usually drops in here. I know they're called custom kicks, but I want to make sure I get the exact. He did a real good job. Look at this right here. Awesome job with me and did not make me take out a second mortgage to buy those shoes. So I appreciate him. If I sneak it in here, I'm going to try to say I am not as technically sound as a lot of people are, but hopefully, Gregory will kick in here. But I know it's custom kicks, and if I get a chance, I'm going to sneak that up here. And if any of you know and can throw it up there in the chat, I would appreciate it. But Gregory Brown is the author of those, or the architect, I should say, of those shoes. Great job. Cousin James in the house. What's going on, brother? Everything going well? I hope so. Marina is here as usual. Say, what's popping? What's popping? That's my boy, Jack Harlow. What's popping? How is that movie, by the way? The White Man Can't Jump with Jack Harlow. Has anybody seen that? I saw the commercials for it and everything. I think it's Hulu. So if anybody can tell me how that movie is, please let me know. I am interested to see. I love the first one with Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson. I can't even tell you what the brother's name is who's in it with Jack Harlow. But the trailer looked funny, but I just haven't had a chance to sit down and see it. Big John Higgins in the house. What's going on, sir? Good to see you. Fogo the Great is here. How are you, sir? Thank you for joining us on a Monday in the Monday Minutia. My good friend David is in the house. What's going on, sir? I'm glad to see you here. I'm going to do something different that I usually don't do a whole lot of. I'm probably going to drop the link in for a little bit later on once we get into the topic a little and see if we can get a little bit of airtime with some of you you guys and gals. I appreciate you joining us as always. John says, Uncle Steve, the lead singer of the podcast band. That's right. Southern Silk Incorporated with my brother Big Low Country, Smitty Sports Machine, and Alberto of 95 North Sports Talk. All my brothers, y'all make sure y'all already know who they are, because if you subscribe to me, 75 to 80, you're subscribed to them. But please give them some love as well. Corliss in the house. What's up, Corliss? How you doing? I'd say for me, it was 1991. My first one was Thriller by Michael Jackson. In 1991, he's talking about the season, and I believe that was the Too Legit to Quit year, if I'm not mistaken, the 1991 season. That was when we went 10-6 and lost to the eventual Super Bowl champs, Washington Redskins at that time. But we defeated New Orleans and went to that second round. But that was a pretty good team. And the crazy thing is that people always tend to not remember. Everybody thought that during those years that Prime was here, that we were just rolling and rolling. You know what, y'all? That was the only winning season he had. That was the only winning season Deion Sanders had when he was here with Atlanta. Matter of fact, I'll take it another step further. We never won more, other than that year in 91, we never won over 6 games. So I know that's why, to me, as great as Deion is, I always have a hard time when people say, oh, he's the greatest Atlanta Falcon, which I get why they say it, but he's not the greatest Atlanta Falcon. He might have been one of the greatest athletes to wear the uniform, but definitely I can't put him in that category, because he definitely was not he was an all-pro player on a sucky team. And sometimes that just doesn't add up. Say what you want to say. Francis in the house. How you doing there, Francis? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. My brother Winston is here. What is going on, sir? Lisa checking in as always. How you doing, Lisa? Hope you are back in town. David says his favorite year was 2008. A rookie quarterback, an unproven back that had showed flashes, and an up-and-coming receiver. Not expected to do much. They went 11-5 and made the playoffs. That's an excellent call. I know a lot of people, again, for all of the dirt that everyone wants to throw on Thomas Dimitroff's grave here in Atlanta, he did an excellent job changing the whole, from 2007, when the earth was, when everything was falling down and tearing apart, coaches leaving in the middle of the night and all of that stuff, to be able to turn around that season and then go on an unprecedented role in franchise history as far as winning, I still give him a lot of credit. That 2008 season was pretty good. Big John says, Uncle Steve, that playoff game win against Philly, I think it was 1978. Yes, sir. When it was a physical game, man, very, very, very physical, with Montgomery was running, and boy, we were hitting him too. That was the remnants of the historic Grits Blitz team. Most of them were still in place. We had gone 7-7 the year before, and then the next year was when they added the 2 games, and so we made the wild card that particular year. And yes, we defeated Philadelphia. That was our first playoff game, and turned out to be our first playoff win. And if memory serves me correctly, I think they had the punter that was kicking, so we kind of lucked up in a certain way in that particular game, because their real kicker was hurt. Somebody correct me if I remember correctly. I think that's what it was for me. Atlanta Burger Gang in the house. My brother Tidy, what is going on, young man? Make sure first y'all check out Atlanta Burger Gang on YouTube, and thank you for those watching in Atlanta Burger Gang and Facebook at this time. Nice to see you Glad y'all in here. He says the 1991 Falcons, my favorite Falcons team. They were the most exciting team in history to me. I know some will say some of Vic's team, but Vic was exciting. 1991, that team was exciting. And it's glad you put emphasis on the team. As I know, y'all probably heard me say several times, I was in the military, and there's nothing like being away from home, and in my particular case, 3,000 miles away. We had just, the Desert Storm stuff had just died down, and that was the football season leading, that was after that. And everybody had their football teams. I mean, all 32 teams were represented at that time. And the Atlanta contingent was very small. I think it was me and maybe a guy who was 2 barracks over that used to wear Falcon stuff out in Fort Lewis, Washington, talking about Atlanta Falcons. And that particular run that we made in 1991 was just awesome. And I talked a lot of smack until that Washington game and probably lost money I shouldn't have been betting at that time. But that's a whole nother story. Todrick, what's going on? Say, what's up, Onk? I saw you critical of Ritter's practice at the Benz, but I asked that you keep that same energy when he balls this season because, be honest, you never believed in him. That's so... I mean, that's inspired me to change my mind about him, Todrick. I was absolutely wrong about Desmond, and you've changed my mind. Bonk! Wrong answer. Dude, why are you so cuddled up with Desmond Ridder, man? It's kind of scaring me a little bit. I tell y'all, there is nothing that's going to stop me about being skeptical about this young man until the football season starts. Nobody said I'm not going to support him. Y'all gotta, some of y'all, and I mean the Todricks, because there's a lot of Todricks out there. Now, Todrick, you my guy. Now, I appreciate you always joining me. But there are a lot of Todricks out there that just think if you don't verbalize that Desmond Ridder is the best thing since sliced bread, that you're not a fan. I'm tired of defending it. It's kind of old. And of course, coming close to the season, my focus is not trying to think like everyone else thinks. I'm a Falcon fan. I'm not a individual fan. So I need Ridder to do his job for the team. So all of that, you keep the same energy. God bless you, brother. And I appreciate you keep coming back with it. Because you know what? If he starts off 6-0 and 8-0 and do all of that, brother, I will sit here and listen to you chastise me for weeks upon weeks upon weeks. But guess what? It hadn't happened yet. Still the summer. So save all that. Jeremy Cox in the house. What's going on, Jeremy? How you doing, sir? Said probably 2012, such a great start and a heartbreaking ending. Run DMC Raising Hell was the first cassette I remember buying. Before that, it was just radio mixtapes. That's an interesting buy. Raising Hell kind of changed the game up to that point. A lot of rap we didn't have a lot of albums. A lot of them were, to your point, mixes, 12-inch singles, the maxi singles. Kids, look it up. That's what you used to have. You didn't have full-on rap albums, and I think actually Run DMC might have had the first one. Was it called King of Rock? The first one, the one with It's Like That and all that. That was before Raising Hell. The Raising Hell was the Steve Tyler Walk This Way and all that stuff, which was a great album, but to me it was nothing compared to the album before with It's Like That and stuff like that. But that's a good one. Very good one. 2012, man, I've got to admit that's probably my third, I would say, because again, we had won 4 years in a row. 3 of the 4 years we made the playoffs. So that 2012 team, we weren't sneaking up on anybody then. And we had a disappointing ending to the last season when the Giants barely let us score a safety. And so the 2012, it was like, yeah, the Falcons are going to make it, but they're not going to make a run and all that stuff. And it turned out to be a really good season. And we were a couple of bad referee calls and just some not great execution from going to that Super Bowl against the Baltimore Ravens, who I think we would have put up a much better fight than Frisco did. John Higgins says, Uncle Steve, I got older brothers, so I came out of the womb bleeding Falcons. Absolutely, my friend. I hear you. Lisa says the 2014 was memorable because I went to London for our first international series game. Game result notwithstanding, London was a blast. Right. Now, was that the Colts? I can't remember. Was that the Colts that we played over there? I cannot remember who it was. Oh, was that Detroit? Was it Detroit? Might have been Detroit. I can't remember. But yeah, that was in 2014. That was at the end of the year, if you all remember, we actually, believe it or not, had an opportunity to win the division. We had the last 2 games of the year. The NFC South was just as putrid as it was this past season. And in 2014, it was us, Carolina, and New Orleans kind of intertwined. And we had to win the last 2 games to win the division. We went to New Orleans, which nobody thought we would do, and beat them. That was the Devontae Freeman welcome party, I guess, as he kind of really ran over the Saints. And then we came back to Atlanta at home, and Carolina pretty much slapped us around and everything. But yeah, that was a good season. Facebook user says, I've heard great things about our new defense coordinator. I got to ask, how did our defense look when they were at Mercedes-Benz Stadium? The defense looked very quick. They look overall, in my opinion, and again, with a big giant asterisk of T-shirts and shorts. But in the 7-on-7 drills, they look very crisp. They look very fast. Whatever the offense was doing, the defense was right in their hip pocket, which to me was awesome because that we haven't seen that much of that kind of action in a long time. So I truly loved what I was seeing from the defense. David says, Michael Jackson's Thriller. I saved my allowance for that album. Thriller was a monster. It should have been right around 82, late 82, early 83, something like that. Atlanta Burger Gang says, plus they were swagged out along with Jerry Glanville and the Elvis Tickets, probably the first team to have rappers, entertainers back in the team in the playoff game against the Aints. See, prior to the Mike Vick experience and things like that, see, that was dangerous. Atlanta was dangerous. No other team was swagging out like that. And Jerry Glanville was saying, I don't care how much y'all how much swag you got, how much attitude you got, as long as y'all put it on the field, it's all good. You know, Elvis was getting tickets and all that stuff. But you're right. This was the first time that the hip hop culture or just entertainment culture was kind of being intertwined with football. I liken it to the era, if you're a wrestling fan, back when Cyndi Lauper and all of them were kind of getting intertwined into wrestling, and then it just kind of went on another level. That was the Atlanta Falcons started that. That wasn't Pittsburgh, that wasn't Dallas, that wasn't Denver, because none of them could get away with it. In the ATL, they could get away with it. And it was so, I mean, I wanted to be in Atlanta so bad during that opportunity. I mean, I got a chance to come home that summer, and I was so looking forward to the next year. And then, of course, they were not they were not that good that year. John Higgins says that 1980s team that lost to Dallas in that playoff game here, boy, did it hurt. Bingo. I mentioned it That is my favorite season. It's hard to describe because you don't have a lot of film on that season. You don't have a lot of archives that talk about that. But I still say that was the most complete, as we all talk about this season with the off-season moves we've made and how great this team is. And I keep hearing people who may not have known what the Atlanta Falcons were 40 years ago. This is the greatest team on paper going as no. The 1980 team of the Atlanta Falcons was by far the most complete team. I'm not saying the most, they won the most. I'm not saying they were the most successful by getting to the Super Bowl because they didn't. I'm saying that was the most complete Atlanta Falcons team ever. And I will argue anybody about it because the defense was on fire. The offense was on fire. We had at that time, Steve Balkowski was lighting it up. So yeah, that was it to me. Titus says, Steve, you probably brought 8 tracks. I wish I was a joke. I was buying 8 tracks. But my very first, since you brought it up, smart Alec, my very first purchase on my own with my own money was Glass Houses by Billy Joel. That was my very first, my allowance, went to the store. Now, my dad used to always buy Stevie Wonder when he came out, favorite artist of all time. But this particular time, what was the song? Still Rock and Roll to Me was out, and You May Be Right, that song. So I bought that album, and that was one of Billy's best albums, if you ask me. Glass Houses, Billy Joel. That was my first one. I think that was 1980. That was 1980. Nick, what's going on, brother? Good to see you in the house, my friend. Said that Tim McKyer, Deion Sanders cornerback duo. I love that squad. They're too legit to quit. And I'm glad that this is getting a lot of votes because, again, I wasn't here to feel that energy. I wish I was here, Nick, to feel what everybody else was. I can imagine how lit the city was during that time. And the dome had just opened and everything. So, and I saw the pictures and I heard the crowd and I was like, oh man, I need to be there. But yeah, that team there. And I'm telling you, it was good TV. They were good TV. Because the other thing that was horrible, because being in Seattle and not only, the games at 1 o'clock were coming on at 10 o'clock in the morning on Sundays, but the Atlanta Falcons were never on the prime game. It wasn't like, in the Seattle, they were trying to show Seattle, and then they showed Seattle's rivals at that time, which at that time, Seattle was in the AFC West. So they weren't showing Falcons games. So I didn't even get a chance to watch. So I would have to wait for the little ticker or wait for the little update thing to come on the screen before I knew what was going on with the Falcons. But yeah, that was that. Yeah, I can imagine that was a great team there. Jimmy said favorite season had to be the year we almost went to the Super Bowl and lost to San Francisco. You were on Jeremy's team, the 2012 team. We had so much potential there. First CD I remember buying was Alicia Keys' first album. Great classic. You're a little younger than I thought, Jimmy. That's okay. Okay. That was the one with Fallen. Was that the Diary of Alicia Keys? Was that the first one? I think it was. That was a good album, though. Jeremy says, yeah, Gregory Brown does some great work. Yeah, talking about the shoes again. If anybody is interested, and again, if anybody sees his moniker, please put it up here for me, because again, if I mess around and try to find it, I'll probably unplug the whole thing. Matt Town Dirty, what's going on, my friend? Everything going on? He said 1998, 1999. Now, that was the Super Bowl year. And you probably came in a little late, Matt, and no problem. That's a great year. We're not counting the Super Bowl years. We're not going to count the two Super Bowls, which are not the year you just mentioned and 2016. So any year aside of the years of football, but that was a great season, and we are acknowledging that, my friend. So that is awesome. That is awesome. Winston says 2012 season. Wow, that's a lot of votes for that. And Jay-Z, In My Lifetime, Volume 1 on the album. Man, okay. Man, I'm dating myself, man. I thought y'all whippersnappers on here. Oh, that's my boss over here, Felicia. How you doing, young lady? She says, on the wall, I'm sure she means off the wall, I'm sure. Michael Jackson, which was 1980 as well, but came out in 79 because Don't Stop Till You Get Enough and Rock With You were the end of 79 going into 1980. But a great choice for Michael Jackson. Everybody bought Michael first, man. I don't know. I think I'm the only one that went the rock route up here. Jamal, what's going on, sir? How you doing? Rise up to you, my friend. Terry's in the house. How you doing, Terry? Good to see you. We're talking about, for anyone else to know, we have two topics today. Your favorite non-Super Bowl Atlanta Falcons team. Does not have to be a winning team, just something memorable. Lisa brought up 2014 team that went 6-10 because of memories she had of that year. So if you have certain memories of a year, say those. Obviously, some of the playoff years so far, I've heard a lot of votes for 1991 and 2012, which is not a surprise. Both of those years were pretty awesome. I'm not hearing one year, which is a little surprising to me, but hopefully somebody else will bring it up. Titus says, first cassette tape I purchased was my own money, which Let's Get It Started, man. That was a pretty good one right there, MC Hammer. Saw him in concert along with In Vogue at the Macon Coliseum. Still the best live show I ever witnessed. And we got a chance to see Hammer when he came to the Tacoma Dome in Seattle. And I'm telling you, dude had like 70 people on stage, and it was awesome. And I can imagine too, back then with In Vogue, that was when they were first kind of kicking off with Hold On at that time. So I'm sure that, and I still say too, to this day, rappers of today, I shouldn't say rappers of today. Well, yeah, them too. But the rappers of yesteryear who threw all the salt on MC Hammer and Hammer when he dropped the MC, but all of them owe him an apology. Remember how everybody used to talk about a sellout? MC Hammer was a sellout. He's selling out to the man. He's making commercials. He's got cartoons. He's doing this, and they were upset because he's ruining the hip hop culture and all that. And you fast forward 30-something years from now, dude, you get one hip hop song out there, and they got a clothesline, a cologne, a vodka, or something like that. But they dogged MC Hammer. I mean, they dogged him. And I just think the rap community as a whole needs to just get a huge card and sign an apology to him for what he did to kind of forecast what the music industry was going to end up being. He parlayed his entertainment into something bigger, and unfortunately, had the ups and downs financially. But the same folks that I love, the Ice Cubes in the world, and the NWA and the third bases of the world, who were just whatever. I'm saying to myself, boy, y'all had that wrong. Y'all did. Brother Todrick says, I like the team where we lost to Philadelphia in the NFC Championship. I think it was 06. I thought we were going to go to the Super Bowl. That's the team I was talking about, and that's actually the 04 team with Mike Vick when they lost. I don't think we scored a touchdown that particular game. Philly kind of put it on us that particular game. But yeah, that was the 04 season where, I was hoping we could have snuck by on that one, but Hey, it is what it is. John Harris in the house. What's going on, JR? Good to see you, brother. So his favorite Falcon season was 2002, the Michael Vick experience. If you weren't there, you don't know. First vinyl. Now, y'all talk about me now. James Brown talking loud and saying nothing. So, hey, JB was hot back then, and John Harris was all over. My dad, I think he used to play back then when Payback first came out. That's why even now I have memories of him when he used to play all the stuff back then. But yeah, that 2002 season, as far as Michael Vick, that was that was special, man, because you really didn't know. You knew he could do some things, but would he be able to carry a team to the playoffs? Not only did he carry a team, that was the particular year that we were the first team ever to beat Green Bay in Lambeau Field and all that good stuff. So that was interesting. Jonathan Thomas, what's going on, brother? Good to see you, man. It's been a while since I've been on here. Good to see you. Good to see you too, brother. Good to see my brother Wallace in the house. What's going on, Wallace? And again, those of you who are on YouTube, please don't forget to like the video if you can. Those on Facebook, please, if you get a chance, zip over to YouTube, find the station, push a like, push a subscribe. You won't get charged a dime just to help your brother get some of this stuff out into the universe. Drew, what's going on, Drew? Drew says, rise up. Appreciate you. David says, played the Lions. Okay, it was the Lions in 2014 in London. I'm going to tell you how I know that was the Lions game, and I'm going to tell you I'm probably telling on myself, and Lord forbid, I hope my pastor, I hope she's not watching. But I remember when that game was on, and of course it's Sunday morning, I'm dead in the middle of service, and I was trying to find any excuse I can to just get out and go listen to the car, because back then I couldn't get. I'm trying to think, could you do Sunday Ticket on your phone in 14? Maybe it had just started, but whatever it was, I couldn't figure it out. So I knew I had to go to the car and go listen to it on radio and figure it out. But yeah, and we lost that game, of course. Antoine Smitty Smith in the house. What is going on? Smitty is the creator of Smitty Sports Machine. Y'all make sure y'all go check the brother out. He is fire. He probably got about 3 videos he put out today, I'm sure. It says Glanville was that dude. Oh yeah, Jerry Glanville was that guy. Absolutely. Jonathan says, same thing. He said, it's been a while since I've been on here. Had to get my divorce settled. Tell the Falcons ladies to hit me up. Okay, well, I was it divorce settled? Congratulations. I hope whatever it is, whatever made you happy, brother. If that was a good thing for you, I'll pop a Diet Coke for you, and if that brings you peace, that's all. As far as the ladies in the group, hopefully y'all get a chance to check Jonathan out and see his picture up there and everything. Y'all give him a buzz, and if y'all make a love connection, y'all make sure y'all name the first kid after your aunt and name him Steve. Tidy says, I think it was the Lions in 2014 in London, because that was the game that was the ice dunk. Okay, yes, for Mike Smith. Yeah, that was the beginning of the end for him. But again, the end of that year, we still had it almost sounded, it was eerily similar to last year, where we were still kind of in it last year at the end until that Arizona game, I think it was. But that particular season in 2014, we literally could have won the division after we beat New Orleans in week 15 and then played the last week. And boy, oh boy, I mean, Cam them came out here and beat the junk out of us. Matt Town says it was used, but it was Parliament, One Nation Under Groove. You can't go wrong with that, man. The cartoons, the animation on anything George Clinton had was so funny. And he used to be saying, "Daddy, what's this picture of this lady and this stuff?" So if you don't know, now you know. Oh man. Smitty says, I think the 2016 was the most complete team. They beat the snot out of teams and just didn't close the deal. I disagree to a certain extent, as much as I think the 2016 team. But again, I will caution Smitty. We were talking about and I probably need to put it on the banner, the best non-Super Bowl team. So not the Super Bowl team. So it's not 2016, not 1998. So take those two teams out. What was your favorite Falcons team? Because obviously those were the most successful teams if you were a step away from winning the championship. But what's your best non-Super Bowl team? So run that back for me. Drew says I have to go to the Chicago game to watch the Falcons play in person. You know what? I was going to think about going to Chicago until I saw two things. One is New Year's Eve, and two, it's December New Year's Eve in Chicago. Ain't no way I'm going outside and freeze my tail off to watch that game. As much as I would love to go to every game I could, but I can't do it, y'all. Sorry. Big fan, can't do it. 330 in the house and says Parliament. That was the album with Flashlight. Yeah, the Placebo Syndrome. Absolutely. Yeah, that was a good one as well. And the one thing I used to love about all of Parliament and Funkadelic, I don't think there was a song under 7 minutes on any of those albums. None of them. If you were going for the album to get you the little 2.5 minute song, don't buy Parliament or Funkadelic albums because they were going to take you there. But that give you your money's worth though. Because I think there was a version of One Nation Under the Groove that was, I want to say 12 minutes. I know the one on the album, I think, is 8. But I think there was a 12-minute version of that song. I mean, that was just the day. That's just what they did. Q in the house. What's going on, man? Good to see you here, brother. What's your favorite non-Super Bowl team for the Atlanta Falcons? And what was the first CD, vinyl album, cassette, yes, Mr. Tidy, 8-track, or whatever you want to call it, reel to reel, that you ever bought? That's what we own today. Smitty says 2004, Vic led us to the NFC Championship. DVD was, yes, sir. That was it with Dunn, Vic, and Duckett. I said Duckett was my guy. It was nothing better than Duckett running on the field and them playing Ludacris when he came on. I thought that was almost the equivalent of, these relief pitchers in baseball coming out of the bullpen. But and the Georgia Dome would just erupt when that would happen. So that was awesome. John says the Brothers Johnson, Strawberry Letter 22. You can't do better than that, man. That's a good one. That was a good one. I'm trying to tell you. Let's see. 330 says, your I rep the brand quote is catching on. I need you to give your disclaimer on what you mean. I think people are using it in the wrong context. I get it though. Yeah, I rep the team, y'all. If you're wearing this, whether you're Bijan Robinson, AJ Terrell, Grady Jarrett, all the way down to Felipe Franks, if you're wearing the brand, I'm down. That doesn't mean I'm going to go to your book signing. That might not mean I'm going to pay for your particular jersey just because you're an Atlanta Falcon fan. But if you're on that field on Sunday from 1 to 4, repping the team, I'm down. I'm down with you. So that's, I think it's lost, Dirty, in the Desmond Ridder talk. Folks, if y'all looking for me to be that the picture of, you know, the Grinch when he was going down the hill in Whoville and his heart all of a sudden got big and, you know, his eyes got wide and Desmond, no, it's probably not going to happen. It's not. I will root for Desmond as a Falcon to score as much as possible. But, you know, maybe he'll grow on me. Matt Ryan was never that guy for me. And I say never that guy. I root for him. I want him to win. When he's in the game, if you're playing for the Saints, you better not mess with him. But in my inner circle, I think that we could have done better. And we could have had better. But that doesn't mean that I just think he's the scum of the earth. That I think I can, while I can admire the, well, if you're not 100%, you're not in. I can respect that, but it's just way too many variables in today's sports landscape for me to just say I'm just all in. I liken it to LeBron James. There are people that blindly follow LeBron James through a wall. He can do no wrong. He is the end all be all. And I respect that people have that fandom. But where did that help you in that suite 2 weeks ago? So again, I'm all about results for this team. I like Dave Archer when he played for the Falcons, but I can't sit here and act like I was gonna run through a wall for this cat. I like Bobby Hebert when he helped us get to the playoffs in what was that? 2000? No. That was 95, I think it was. Yeah, 95. So yeah, man. But I'm trying to explain it, Dirty, in a way. I rep the brand. If you're wearing the Atlanta Falcons uniform, Steve will be up there in the stands, losing my voice, rooting for you to win as a team. I guess that's the best I can do, I guess. Eric, what's going on? How you doing, sir? Say hi, my brother. Said, yeah, the 2012 season for me as well. I can't remember what album I bought. I always found people who gave away classic vinyls that I kept. If I did buy anything in the 90s, it was Prince's Gold Experience album to start. Oh, wow. That's a good one right there. That was Billy Jack. Billy Jack? Yeah. And The Most Beautiful Girl in the World. That was a good album. That was actually a really good album. Dang. Man, I'm old. 2012 season, another vote. So it sounds like 2012 and 1991 are running neck and neck on here. 330 also says Hammer opened my doors to business opportunities that these artists are taking advantage of today. Absolutely. And never gets the love. Never. You don't ever hear. Wait, listen. You can have Tupac and Biggie be your inspirations all day, all night, if you want to. That's fine. But what Hammer did and his crossover effect, every hip hop artist ought to be happy for the crossover, because they were calling them sellout and everything. Because the urban audience, or suburban, I should say, the suburban audience was out there buying Hammer like hotcakes. Well, we don't want those folks to buy our albums. And then 5 years later, they're like, wait a minute. How much money Hammer make? So everybody needs to sign that apology. Q said, yep, first time two black quarterbacks played against each other's right against the Eagles. That's right. That 2004. Oh, here he is. Brother Greg in the house. Thank you, Jesus. Okay, so Greg is at GQB Custom Kicks. So y'all please make sure y'all get him said, Unc, I appreciate the love that him. Oh man, please, that dude. You nothing but love. And so I'm gonna tell you too, Greg, while you're joking, and you can ask Big Low and Big Low Country Sports. Y'all make sure y'all check him out too. Ask Big Low. When I went to the first look thing the other day, folks were talking about the shoes. So what I'm gonna probably have to do, Greg, and I did you a disservice. I'm probably gonna have to get a card or something. Just shoot it to me on my inbox, and I'll do that. So the next time I can do that, because I felt like people were asking, I couldn't, Yeah. Raymond in the house. What's going on, Raymond? Said his first album was LL Cool J's Radio. Ooh, man, that was a good one. That was LL at his best. That was good. Season was 1986. First NFL game. Awesome. Smitty says, Uncle Steve, the Lord. Hey, man, we wishing me on that, because if it don't work out, don't tell them that I messed you up now. Sean Glover in the house. What's going on, Big Sean? How you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Need to hear yours. Best non-Super Bowl season for the Falcons. First ever album, CD, cassette you ever bought. Tidy says Hammer was the first black rapper to get filthy rich. Other rappers were just jealous. Very. Hammer broke so many barriers on how to get money outside of just rapping. Now you see Lil Baby in commercials. See, I mean, ain't nothing but the truth right there. Dude, I'm telling you, rappers don't even have a straight up record deal. They come out with one song, next thing you know, they on a commercial for some clothing line. You know, that's how it goes. It doesn't go come out with a record, sign the big deal, go to concert. No, it goes come out with the big record, put it on YouTube, let everybody see it, sign a deal with Vera Wayne, or I know I'm dating myself with clothes, so Louis Vuitton or whoever it is, and do that. Look at Kanye. He ain't a billionaire because Through the Wire was a million selling hit. he parlayed that into something else. So Sean says 2012 or 2017. That's a good one. Yeah, both of those years. 2017, I know people look at that year, obviously coming off of the disappointment that was the Super Bowl. 2017 gets lost. Their defense was actually pretty good that year. We just couldn't score when Shanahan left. We had Sarkisian out there swimming without a life preserver that year. So, you know. All right. And please forgive me. I hope Zayana Bag says, I went to the Ravens game. Said I was cold. Yeah, that Ravens game, I was looking at how cold it was, because it wasn't like snowing, but just you could see the breathing. I give you a absolute medal for going to that game last year. What's going on, Hal? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for joining us here in the house. Eric says Parliament also gave you a comic book in that Placebo album. Again, I mean, just different things from Parliament, man. Parliament, and look, I know none of y'all were probably young enough. You couldn't buy those Ohio players. Couldn't buy those albums. If you know, you know. I know John Harris probably sitting there saying, oh, yeah. Hal says, repping the brand in upstate New York for so many years now, Lord. Good job, Hal. My better half was raised up in that Syracuse, Utica area. So I'm familiar with it, but haven't been there. Winston says, Matt was an above average quarterback at best. Ritter has to prove to to be at least that before I jump on the bandwagon with blind faith. I mean, and it's so weird, Winston, that we have to make excuses to some to explain that. It's like, I understand, and I'm buying the, the hype with the influx of the free agents and stuff like that. I'm buying that. I'm buying that the guys we came in are going to improve this team. I'm buying the fact that I think we're going to win the NFC South. I'm buying all of that. But in order for us to really succeed, we've got to hope Desmond does a little better this coming season. I hope he does. Excuse me. Q says, rep the team and not one player. I mean, hello. Q says, my favorite album is You and Big O. I told you, man, me and Big Lo going through contract negotiations, man. He don't want to come off any royalties, man. So until he come off some royalties, we're gonna be we'll be recording, but we'll be recording in different studios, and we'll put Smitty will put it together and do that. Oh man, Sean says Murphy Lee album. Okay, got the bootleg from the flea market. All right, which one? Greenbrier or South Cab? Which one you went? Which one you went to? Raymond says, yeah, Hammer let himself get pumped and lost sight of the business. Man, I can see that big old hammer going up and down on stage. But, in fairness to Hammer, and I know, all of us from the outside, well, if I had that much money, I would have. He probably, not even probably, he had the wrong folks around him, man. He had the wrong folks around him, wrong folks advising him. So I just feel like it's a cautionary tale that other up-and-coming entertainers can learn from. But, yeah, man, Hammer did it big. He thought it was bigger and better. And poor Hammer had an identity crisis, too, because if y'all remember, after the pumps and the bump, he tried to go hardcore. And that wasn't him. Will Smith took lessons from him, say, you know what? And even though Will Smith tried to go a little blue, but not that bad. But Will Smith said, I'll play the happy rapper. And I'll take the rest of the money that the rest of them guys crying about. And Hammer was like, I'm losing the credit for my people in Oakland and California and stuff like that. So I need to toughen my image up and whatever. And though I love pumps with a bump and stuff like that, Sean said we led the league in drops. Oh, I believe it. Julio, y'all remember the pass in Carolina? The perfect pass, probably Matt Ryan's one of his best throws ever. Hit Julio dead in the chest in the Carolina end zone, and he couldn't pull it in. I remember. Eric says, I got all Ohio players' album covers now, but back when I was young, my mother wouldn't let me keep it. I know she wouldn't. I used to go down there and look. Again, if you don't know, go Google Ohio players and see their album covers. But as a little kid in the 70s, what is that? Man, you didn't need a player's book or anything. You just looked at the album like, oh, okay. Sean says Smiley's in Macon. Okay, you're talking about the flea market down there. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was talking about we used to our main flea market when I was here was Greenbrier. Used to have the little flea market off of Hetland up here. So that's what I was about. Okay, Smiley's in Macon. Got it. Scooter, what's going on, Scooter? Says favorite season was 1991. That's another one. And first album I purchased was Life Is Too Short. Did a lot of Too Short in Germany when Too Short was on fire back then. But yeah, that's so weird. Winston says Ritter cannot be the reason this team doesn't have a winning season with $100 million potentially next season. He'll ride the bench for the rest of his rookie career. And you know, again, he's in the same situation as Jalen Hurts. That's why, you know, a lot of people, oh, Jalen Hurts, they could have waited. No, they couldn't wait. Because Jalen Hurts, this is his last year. This would have been his last year if he didn't sign the extension, because he was a second-round pick. People keep forgetting that. And that's the thing about Desmond. That's why you got to give it a little bit to Terry. If Desmond doesn't, if he isn't the guy, which we hope he is, and I really do hope he is, if he isn't the guy, the investment isn't huge. Yes, I'll sit here and put my hand on the Bible and say I was trying to get Lamar in here for $200 million and all that. Yeah, but that's past now. But now that we've done the things we've done, that most expensive position, you don't have to invest in that. You don't. So now, if the Desmond Ritter experiment doesn't work, you can go back to the drawing board if you want to. So we'll see. I don't think it's any shame in anybody's game for that. Not at all. Winston also says, when we was last in the NFL in drop passes, first in the league in other passes. Yeah. 3 Dirty says, I've been watching a lot of film on our last season with both quarterbacks struggling, but I will say Ritter played better each week, but Mariota leveled off while playing bad. And Dirty, I'll even go one step further. The best game Mariota played, he only threw the ball 14 times. So did Mariota make things difficult with his ability to run with team? Yeah, a little bit, but he couldn't throw to save his life at this stage of his career. So he was doing us no good. We didn't know that coming into the year. But there is hope with Desmond. And listen, all kidding aside, I hope the young man does some good things. I see he's worked on his body. He actually made some decent throws in practice, though I will say, from my standpoint, I thought Heineke looked very sharp in the little 707s or whatever. We got a long way to go, folks. You got June, we have July training camp, and Lord forbid, knock on wood, let's hope we don't have any injuries. Because if we have some injuries, let's hope Heineke is that guy. Because we got all these people we're bringing in from free agency, and that's a waste of money if the quarterback isn't there. Hey, that's my brother Harrison in the house. What's going on, doctor? Says the most memorable Falcons game when Morton Anderson kicked the game-winning field goal in overtime to lift the Falcons over the Vikings in 1998 NFC Championship game. That's still a memory. That's still a memory that, I mean, it's a where you were, Harrison. Everyone has that memory of where they were when Morton kicked that field goal. And that's just one of those. The crazy thing is that, and it sounds weird, the Green Bay game was so anticlimactic because we had already won the game in the first half. We were up 24-0, and then 2 minutes into the second half, we were up 31-0. So the celebration was on in the second quarter. The Minnesota game, which was surprisingly a comeback from us, we were on our hands, just biting nails and all of that during that game. So you had a different emotion going on during that time. So that was very interesting to do that. So 3 Dirty says, is there a chance that Ritter can be quarterback 2 after preseason? In my opinion, listen, I think they've gone out of their way. because this is what you don't want to do. You don't want to tell everyone in March and April, Ritter is the guy. Ritter is the guy. Heineke has come in and told everybody, hey, I'm brought here to support Ritter. You don't want to do that and then all of a sudden in preseason change that whole narrative up. I think they're going to give Desmond Ritter every single opportunity to be the QB1 for at least the first 6 to 8 games, and hopefully he'll show up. So I do think he's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a chance. Harrison says first album 1999. Prince, really? Okay. The double album. He doesn't get a lot of love for that album as much. I know a lot of people obviously go to Purple Rain as his best. I know the critics go to Sign of the Times as his best, but that 1999, man. You start thinking about all the songs on there, 1999, Little Red Corvette, I forgot, Delirious, International Lover, All the Critics Love You in New York. Just that whole vibe of that album. Lady Cab Driver. That was a great one right there. That album was on fire. And my favorite Prince album probably was Sign of the Times, though. Sign of the Times just ran a gamut of feelings all over the place, even though I did love Purple Rain as well. Eric said, I got the 1999 Super Deluxe box set. Oh, wow. Is that the one where they have like a lot of offcuts? I think I have that one too. They got like 20 extra cuts on there. That's something. That's actually a really good. He did that with Purple Rain as well. Purple Rain, there's a extra, little box set thing as far as that's concerned as well. So yeah. Yeah, Eric says, yeah, all vault music. Yeah, and you can imagine, man, he's probably gonna have some his people, and I think his sister runs the estate now. They're probably gonna be releasing other stuff, later on and stuff. You think about people like him that just have things all jumbled up in there as well. Eric says, "Oh, Sign of the Time. I did not know that. Okay, I got to check that one out." Sign of the Times. That's a oof. I can listen to Starfish and Coffee on a loop all day. That was one of my low key favorite songs off that album. That one going in. But listen, folks, I said I was going to stop at 8 o'clock. Y'all kept me rolling past 8 because the conversation was good. And that's what we try to do on the Monday Minutia. Just talk about a little bit about the Falcons, a little bit about entertainment. Again, if you didn't do already, please like the video. Go over. If you're on Facebook, sneak over there to YouTube for me real quick. Jump over to the site. Push that subscribe button. Leave it alone. Still watch me on Facebook. I'll be over here as well. Appreciate y'all joining me in Uncle Steve's Lounge. We'll be here every Monday. I try to be here on Friday for the Friday brunch, usually around 1 o'clock, between 1 and 1:30. Kind of depends on what's going on. But I'll pop in on Friday to talk about all things Falcons and get you guys going into the weekend. I appreciate the chat. Appreciate everyone's input this week. Y'all make sure, again, I'm going to scroll back up here to Greg and put his thing up here. Matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add it on the video, and I'll put his link on there so y'all can check him out for his shoes. Until then, man, y'all take care. Have a blessed week, and we'll catch y'all later on from your Unc in Uncle Steve's Lounge. Take care.